Forex Trading Unlocked, and we're here on November 26th with daily Forex market analysis for you. And before we start, we just want to jump onto our disclaimer to remind you that this webinar is just for illustrative purposes only. That is it, just for educational illustrative purposes. And now we'll go to our live action screen. And right now we have on the forex-trading-unlocked.com website, we have our workstation page pulled up. And we have the euro in front of us right now. The euro started out kind of laying on support this morning. There's not much of a range today. As you can see, that the high is only $1.1024 and the low is $1.1007. So that's really not much to go with so far on this Tuesday. In fact, we're inside yesterday's range, which was pretty tight. Now remember, it's a holiday week in the US, so we have a lot of things going on in Europe. And I think that because of the slowdown with the U.S. markets and the holiday trading that's going to start this week, that this is really probably what's going on with the euro. And it's probably going to be going on with most of your currencies. So we're going to get rid of that news thing. We don't need that. There's a lot of numbers, ironically, for the EU and for Germany as well. So that tells you a lot that their numbers came out over the past 2 days, actually. And we have not had much of a real market reaction. It's kind of crazy, actually. You would think that we would be seeing more right now, but we're not. So that kind of tells you something. And I put out a little warning already yesterday and already spoke about it last week to be very leery, especially even once you get to past today. Tomorrow is going to be half-day markets in the U.S., and also on Friday as well. So there's going to be a lot of vacuum moves and very skittish trading. And unless you really need to be there, I think that it would be really smart to just, even if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, to just take a little hiatus until next week. And remember that we will also be at month end too this week. So it will be interesting to see what occurs over the next 24 hours, but I think that really the expectations should be quite low. It's already at 9:30 now in the Chicago time, so 10:30 in New York time. And as you can see, whatever the stock market's doing this morning isn't really moving or phasing the dollar, at least in relationship to the euro. So if you want to kind of look as a gauge what to look out for, I would say let's make this chart a little bit bigger here for you. And I would key off of the these two levels right here for a breakout. And unless we do something until then, I wouldn't really look out for very much more. So we're here to the upside. We have this level here, which was the last high. And then here we have this lower move low, which obviously would be a big level to watch out for. We're hovering just above it. And then the question is are we just getting ready for another big bull run, or are we going to lay down on support? That's going to be a very good question to kind of pay attention to. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's a holiday market. I think it's going to be a range trader's delight to kind of just trap people, because I don't think there's really going to be much action unless there is some sort of major news that happens over the next couple days globally. And right now, it doesn't seem like we're looking at that happening, so we shall see. Let's see what's going on in a couple other markets too right now. So before we go on to any currency crosses, let's look at how the dollar index was yesterday. The dollar index for the month of October gave us a sell signal and has been giving us a rough time for the month of November. We just made a newer move low on the first day of November, and after that, the market the dollar index has been firming up. However, as you can see, yesterday it failed to make a higher move high. And today, the dollar index is struggling as well. So let's go back to our European crosses and see what's going on with the pound US dollar. Now, the pound looked like it wanted to break out to the upside not too long ago, and then it started to fall down. But here's something you need to take a little look at, though. Okay, so we had this high right here. This is our higher move high to break out of as far as if the bulls are really going to start to pressure a run, which I think the pound US dollar probably has a really good chance at breaking out above that high and hitting up towards that $1.31 level. Now, let's see what we've done recently. So since we made that high, we made a low, we made a lower move high, we made a lower move low, which was neutral to bearish. And then we came up and we made this high here. So here the high was a buck 29.75, and here we had a buck 29.85. So it was just slightly higher. So this higher move high took out this. So we had a lower move low and a higher move high, which confirmed neutral trading. So this obviously has been snaking around. Any range trader who was playing the fading the resistance and fading support here has been doing well, because there hasn't been very much directional trading, obviously, for the past now month and a half in the pound US dollar. Ironically, after it had this major run up and has been trending, since before that. So here we go, where once again the pound is inside yesterday's range, and the pound, it's kind of scary when you have the euro that's trading in such tight ranges, even tighter than normal, and then you have the pound, which is trading in tight ranges. Like, not that every day is like these certain big days over here, but this is going nowhere. This is a blender right here. So I would say be very cautious here and wait for a breakout. And the way I'm looking at it right now is that definitely this is the high you have to key off of. Trading above there, I think, is going to build to the upside as far as bullish momentum, at least for a short term, at least for a pop up to $1.31. So this is not major expectations, especially because the volatility is low here over the past month and a half. So to just expect a big explosive move like this, there was reasons for this back then. This was because we were in front of the Brexit deal that didn't happen, and we knew that it was falling apart, but there were certain things that were going well, and we don't need to go back in history with the Brexit stuff because it's already kind of wary after I don't know how many years. It seems like the construction in Chicagoland, the way the Brexit is taking to go get done. So anyhow, the pound US dollar looking for a breakout as well. So let's look at the US dollar Swiss, which has been very, very interesting how it keeps trying to make a run at parity and then it gets rejected. And here we are on the daily. And once again, we had yesterday where we had tried to settle above parity. We couldn't do it. We settled lower than the previous day, which had touched parity. We're not parity. At 99.80 here below parity, and we yesterday we had made a higher move high, settled a little bit lower than the previous day, and we made this run, which had tested this high here, and then today here we made it just slightly higher, and we're higher on the day, but still pretty much neutral for the past 3 sessions actually after we had this little run up here. Now, ironically, the U.S. dollar Swiss is having bigger ranges than the euro is. And it's also setting a little bit of a move here. So this is dollar strength. But it kind of looks reminiscent of what did we look at just a couple minutes ago? The dollar index, the Dixie chart. And that's what's running in here. It looks like as the US dollar Swiss has been very similar in trading to the dollar index at times when the dollar index is hitting towards an extreme. So right now, once again, the US dollar is having trouble nudging up towards this parity level. It's been rejected so many times. If we take the US dollar chart, you can see how this market here for months has been basically going sideways, especially between 98.5 and just below parity. And you can see that this is a good resistance area here. So the question is the dollar index going to fall back, or is it going to start a new bull run? Well, it had a sell signal for the month of October. Profit taking has obviously occurred over the past few weeks, driving the dollar index back, but it's still looking kind of heavy. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see the dollar index erode, see potentially the US dollar Swiss erode, and probably fall back towards this 98.5, 98 even area. So what I would do is key off of this level up here, which is just above. This is parity 27. That would be your upside breakout point. And then here I would be especially cautious of anything below 98.38. And right now, no matter what, it is in a bull trend, as you can see. So we'll put this up. So might be mindful of this trend line here. All right, we'll put this through here. And there you go. So here we have this upward sloping support line that is helping to keep the US dollar Swiss up. If obviously a failure here, I think, would take us off the neutral path towards leaning towards testing support once again. Now let's look at the US dollar JPY. Why? Because this is another one of the few currency crosses that has been kind of going in a different direction than the other currency crosses when it comes to the relationship with the dollar. So here again, once again, the dollar index was strong the past couple days. This has been nudging up here with the US dollar yen. Now here we have another situation that's very interesting. If you look at this, the market's been traveling in a nice little slowly grinding rally now for months here in the US dollar yen. You can see that we've come to fall just below this upward sloping support channel. Now, does that mean that we're going to be in a sideways trade where we started a bear market or we're about to have a bearish turn? Not necessarily. We could be heading into sideways markets for this because if you look at it as a whole, that this last low here, it's a pretty good support base, and it's been somewhere where the market's been basically above it for a big portion of this chart that we're looking here out of these 4 months, except for this dip down here. So it's very likely that this market could hold even though it goes below this support line. So this necessarily doesn't make me very bearish. Okay. What does though is if you look at this, it kind of looks like here's a shoulder here, and this is a head, and we may be running into another shoulder here. So I think that what you have to really be mindful of with this market here is the high. I gotta move this chart so we can make this happen here. Is this right here? Okay, so we move this. All right, so this would be your upside breakout point, and also confirmation of support for this bullish trend is definitely back above 109,482. If we don't do that, then I would be very, very leery of being long if we fall below 108.25 too. Reason being is that if we take out, for instance, let's say the market curves here. We're going to draw this to make it more of a easy. Let's say we start to drift like this, and we come through here. Well, once we do this and we take out this low, that's a major sell signal right here. This would be where I would be very leery of being long, and we could be in for a little bit of a corrective phase here for this typical pattern. It would be called a head and shoulders because that's exactly what that would be. So let's draw another trend line in here to make this kind of clear. So here we have our neckline for our head and shoulders. So we still have a support line right here. But if the market does come below here, the possibility of it taking out this low increases. And then once it takes out that low, we're gunning for this low here. And that's all bets are off after that. Now, does that mean that the market's going to just start collapsing? Absolutely not. However, what would precipitate a move such as this? Like I said, the dollar index, if that starts to fall apart, which it may, now we're in a holiday market, so it's very likely that we could go sideways here with this little wedge, not take out this high, and then start to fall apart and take out these support levels, which if we take out this little area here, this is the key right here. If we take any of this spot out right here, then I think that you are going to be in a world of hurt. So definitely this support area, you come into here, if you don't put up a fight for the bulls here and maintain their ground for a neutral trade. So this is where I think you're going to have a lot of range traders that are fading the bearish outlook pot that could possibly be there, as well as also be your low risk longs would be jumping in here. So the algos, I think, could start to get really spiky around here. But like I said, I would be very cautious if the market does gravitate to here, and if the dollar index is also going lower, watch that if that is also going simultaneously, and then I'd be very careful about fighting that because that's probably an indication that bearish momentum from the dollar index is going to seep into affect the US dollar yen. Whereas, excuse me, it had been going in opposite directions before. I think you might start to see this really kick in once that potential scenario, if that does begin to unfold, then you're most likely going to see this with the US dollar yen. So one last currency we want to take a look at here is the Australian dollar, US dollar, when it comes to this trading zone, and see if this is giving us any reason to really look at anything yet. No, this is sideways, it's lower, and yeah, it's choppy, and this is an ugly chart. So sorry for your Australian dollar, US dollar traders. Really don't have very much to tell you here that you can't already infer. So let's see what we can do. You know what we're going to do is we're going to do a look at the US dollar, Canadian dollar, because they had some news last week, excuse me, that shook up the market a little bit. Let's see if, yeah, here we're buffering, hanging on these highs. The US dollar index, I think, is starting to drag on this as well. So this is still a bull, the U.S. dollar Canada. However, if you like I said, if you start to see the U.S. dollar Swiss or the U.S. dollar yen start to fall with the dollar index, I think that's going to be a very big confirmation that the dollar index is going to take a spill, which will probably lift, rise. It's like rising tides lift all boats. A serious sell-off in the momentum for the dollar index could really help the major currency crosses such as the Canada and the euro and the pound and the yen as well get a lift. The Australian dollar, I think, is still hung up on the China trade deal. That's why it's going so sideways. Which, yesterday, ironically, they said a deal looks like it's coming close and things are positive, which always makes me scared because today I've been staying away from the news for the most part because I'm like, they're going to probably say the trade talks are coming to a halt again. Because like one day it comes out good, the next day you can almost guarantee it's going to be the opposite. At least that's the way it seems because it's been dragging on for so long. But let's go back to our euro US dollar just to see where the market is at today. Again, it is staying positive, but look, it's going nowhere, folks. It's a holiday market. So I'd be very leery once again. Like I said, don't look for much. I know I'm not looking for anything. I'm just here giving you guys a little voice today. And unless there's a major move today, you will either hear from me later on tonight or we'll see and we'll size it up for tomorrow. Or tomorrow, we'll give you one last little dose in the morning before the markets close in the U.S., and then we'll be closed for the Thanksgiving holiday. So thank you very much for your time. And real quick, I want to show you that dollar index again, and we want to go to the monthly chart real quick. So we're going to go down here. You can do this on our www.forex-trading-unlocked.com website anytime you want, no login required. Now here you can see this is where we're at on the month. We're slightly positive and we're almost 50% back to where we were from where we started the month of October when we started this fall. Now this red bar here, the month of October, that's called a bearish engulfing line. That's a sell signal. And unless we get above this high, that sell signal remains in place and bearish pressure will be expected for the dollar index. Also, we have a major head and shoulders type formation forming in the dollar index as well if this sell signal is valid and it remains concrete. So if we start to see weakness in the dollar as the week ends, and then remember next week is the month of December. So if once we hit that, that's the last month of the year, last month of the quarter. If the dollar index starts to continue and trade lower, and then if it takes out the lows over here, which isn't that far away, I mean, you're looking at what? Less than $1 or just a little over $1 move in the dollar index. That's a lot of dollars, right? But a failure from there would definitely be probably something that would excite the holiday trade. I don't think a rising dollar is going to so much, but I think that a falling dollar could really be exciting for getting the markets moving and having a little action during the holiday markets. So with that being said, we want to show you one last little thing. If you're interested in learning about that dollar index sell signal, which is a high probable Japanese candlestick pattern, you can read a book called High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns. It's available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle version. And through it, you can utilize the best buy and sell patterns used for over 400 years to give yourself a competitive edge against the markets. And we would also like you to check out www.forex-trading-unlocked.com anytime you want to look at the markets and see what's going on. Check out the news, the charts, the analysis, and also our streaming content when it's live, or check it out past episodes as you can on the website as well. So check it out and check out the book as well. And if you don't come out and view our video later on today or tomorrow, you have a good Thanksgiving holiday, safe holiday, and we will look forward to being back later.